Thank you, Dorte. And I will welcome you all, and then I'll try to share my slides. It will be a presentation of about half an hour, and then we'll take the QA after that. See. Yes. Attention mode. Yes. And Dorte, you can see as well? Yes. Okay. Good. Yeah, I'll present the report on the Nordic monitoring, where we compare data from 2024 with 2014. Yeah. And actually, the Nordic monitoring is has a long way. It started way back in 2008, and there has been a lot of reports during that time. But now we focus on the latest survey and compare it with the previous survey. I will come shortly into the study design and the methodology, and then show some main results on diet, physical activity, alcohol, and smoking, and weight status. And then in my presentation, I will talk about similarities and differences between the 5 Nordic countries, and then we'll have the Q&A session afterwards. Just to have a brief overview of the data collection, we have 5 Nordic countries participating in the survey: Denmark, Iceland, Finland, Norway, and Sweden. And we have random samples from the national registries enriched by with telephone numbers, and therefore you can discuss whether it's then random, because it's only participants with telephone numbers who are participating. We have 5,000 participants aged 18 to 65 years of age, approximately 1,000 adults in each country. And then we have 2,500 children aged from 7 to 12 years of age, approximately 500 children in each country. We have collected the data with the same questionnaire in 2014 and 2024, but with some minor changes just to improve the questionnaire. Sorry. And we have the 2014 questionnaire, or the survey in 2014, was only done by telephone interview, but we have included a web possibility to answer the questions in 2024 in order to make it easier for participants to participate in the survey. And overall, we have questions on diet, physical activity, overweight, alcohol, and nicotine consumption. We have used this mixed method approach, where we have both interview administered questionnaire as a first opportunity, and then the self-administered web-based questionnaire as a second opportunity. And we have included in the questionnaire some sustainable dietary indicators. We have compared to the previous survey in 2014, we have included questions on consumption of meat and milk products and pulses. And the reason for choosing meat and dairy is because we need to include some foods with the highest carbon footprint. We have also included some sustainable physical activities indicators, where we have used walking and cycling as transportation, and where we have led active transportation representing the carbon-friendly transportation type. And it's from a Norwegian research article from 2017 that we chose this active transportation as carbon-friendly transportation. We have also the alcohol and tobacco use in the questionnaire, and where we have included in the new survey a number of standard drinks the last 7 days. and also due to the change in our nicotine use, we have now included nicotine pouches and e-cigarettes as a mean for the smoking or change in nicotine use. We have had a lot of filter control in our questionnaire in order to validate the answers and increase the data quality in general. A lot of the discussions we've had in the working group is presented in the Nordic working paper I've shown on the left. So that's available for looking at. Our mixed method with the telephone interview is the first choice, and we have let the online self-administered questionnaire be limited to approximately 20% of the responses in each country. It makes a more flexible approach, and we hope that it would be increasing the participation, but I can tell you that, well, we are not that impressed of the participation rate of a questionnaire or a survey like this, which only takes about, well, 13 minutes to participate and answer the questions. We know that self-administered questionnaires give less social acceptable answers, maybe more honest answers, and therefore we have been aware that there might be possible different answers when we have the possibility to show or let the participants answer by a self-administered questionnaire. And because we have maybe different answers in the two last surveys, we might impair our time trends. But since we now have a questionnaire or a survey in 2024, where we both have the possibility to see answers from the telephone interview and also the self-administered questionnaire, we kind of have a stepstone for future surveys, because we then have a possibility to continue with online surveys and still compare with previous data collections. And just as to mention that the diet is measured by a food frequency questionnaire with selected foods. The participation rate, I briefly touched that we were not that impressed. Among adults, we can see that the overall response rate across the Nordic countries was 19, ranging from 12% in Sweden to 30% in Iceland. And among children, we can see the overall response rate was 20%, with country-specific rates ranging from 13 in Sweden to 27 in Iceland. We can see, as we expected, that among adults, participation was highest among women and individuals 45 to 66 years of age, and those with higher levels of education. And among children, we can see that the participation rate was highest among boys and among those whose parent or guardians had higher levels of education. We have expected that we would see a decline in the response rate in the NORMO survey, because we can see a general trend towards reduced response rate in national surveys. So we expected that, and we were fulfilled in that matter, but not that happy. If we should see on the reason for non-participation among the adults for the latest data consumption, we can see quite huge differences. We can see, for instance, that in Sweden we had quite a high amount of participants where we got the wrong number. So there's something different in Sweden compared to other countries with the companies that provide the telephone numbers for the participants. We can also see that in Finland we had quite a high number of so-called callback, which is a busy line when people are called, or that the interviewer reach a voicemail and where no direct contact was made with the participant. We can then, on the nice side, we can see that the amount of refusals were quite low in Iceland and compared to the other countries, but very nice that the Icelanders are willing more willing to participate in such a survey. And then we can see that in Sweden as well, we had quite many participants where we had reached a timeout callback where the interviewer called several times and did not get reach of the participants and therefore had no contact with the participants. If we should look at the results on diet for adults, we can see the overall look when we compare the 2014, the red bars, compared to the blue bars of 24. Yeah, 2014 are the red bars and 24 are the blue bars, where you can see that total fruits and vegetables has decreased slightly. The consumption of whole grain bread has also decreased. We can establish that the meat consumption in the Nordics are quite high, with almost meat consumed every day. Then we have an increase in the consumption of chocolate and candy, and also an increase in the sugary and light beverages, the soft drinks. And also we can see, last but not least, that the energy drinks, the consumption of energy drinks has more than doubled on the average level of the Nordic region. So overall, we can see that we have less plant-based foods and a high consumption of meat among adults in the region. And we can see the same pattern for children. If we look at fruits times per day, we can see that the intake of fruits, consumption of fruits has decreased in every country. And yeah, it's a bit disappointing, but that's how it is. And then the energy range, it's huge differences in the different countries. There was an overall doubling of the consumption of energy drinks per week among adults. But as you can see here, we have very high drastic increase in the Iceland population. Yeah, I don't have any explanation for this, but it's really amazing how the consumption of energy drinks has increased in Iceland during the last 10 years. And if we see the consumption of meat, we did not have a question on meat in 2014, but if we look at the figures for 2024, we can see that Denmark and Finland have higher consumption of meat than the other three Nordic countries. And yeah, it's quite high, the consumption of meat in all five countries. And then compared to the consumption of fish, where we are, the excess is quite low. You can see that the highest consumption of fish is in Norway, where we have 2.3 times per week. And then we have Denmark and Iceland with a little bit above 1.5 times per week. So it's quite different in the different countries and very low compared to the meat consumption. If we look let's see here, I can not see the data, the title. Can you see that? The title of it's because I have a bar. Oops, sorry.
On diet to chocolate, fruit and vegetables.
Yeah, yes, just a minute. Yeah, screen sharing, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Chocolate and candy.
Yeah, it's the consumption of chocolate and candy, where you can see that Denmark has the highest consumption of chocolate and candy in the Nordics, and you can see in most of the countries we have an increase in the consumption of chocolate and candy. Then for results on children. We can see that as for adults, we can see the decrease in the consumption of fruits and vegetables, except in Finland, and otherwise it's just decreasing slightly in each country. Yeah. Then for soft drinks, we can see that there has been an increase in the soft drink consumption, except for Finland. But we can see that, yeah, the Nordic children are consuming more soft drinks now than previous. And here you have that the development has been different in Finland compared to the other 4 countries. Then the intake of chocolate and candy times per week for children, we can see the increase, and also again the same pattern. Denmark has the highest frequency of chocolate and candy compared to the other 4 countries, but still the development is that there's an increase in the candy and chocolate consumption in the Nordic region among children. Then physical activity for adults results on this. We can see that for 2024, we have the amount of those with high screen time in adults. And here we have only shown for 4 countries. Finland is not in this graph because the Finnish data collection was in a slightly different season than the other 4 countries. We collected the data in Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Iceland in the spring of 2024, and the Finnish data were in the autumn of 2024. So we will not put all 5 countries in one graph because it's slightly not comparable, but we have still a high screen time amount with high screen time in Finland as well. So the results show that roughly 1 in 4 reported high screen time among adults in the survey. And if we look at the screen time according to country and gender for the different countries, we can see the high screen time was higher in some countries. It's a bit of a mixed result. You can see that in Denmark, there are more men having high screen time in Denmark, but otherwise we can see that for some of the other countries, it's women in Finland, Iceland, and Norway. They have there is a higher amount of those with high screen time in those countries, and then again Sweden has the same pattern as Denmark. If we look at smoking and other nicotine use in 2014 and 24, and also look at the alcohol consumption, we can see that what we know is that the daily smoking has declined in the countries, and the daily use of snuff and nicotine pouches has increased, and that gives an overall picture of smoking or use of nicotine, which is shown here, where we can see that Iceland, Norway, and Sweden have higher use of nicotine use or nicotine and smoking, and Denmark and Finland are quite or not quite, but lower in that comparison. But we kind of estimate that well, for at least Denmark, we have not had a tradition of using snuff and nicotine pouches. We started later because we were so good. I'm ironic now, but good at smoking. But now it's changed in Denmark, and we can see all over squares in Copenhagen, for instance, we have nicotine pouches thrown everywhere. So it's highly used nowadays, but still we can see that Denmark and Finland have lower consumption of nicotine use and smoking as well. So in general, when we see at the overall picture, the development, we can see that the nicotine use is relatively stable over time, but we can see there's a shift from cigarettes to smokeless nicotine, and therefore we kind of have the same problem, but it's smokeless nowadays. And what we can see with the alcohol consumption, it has been remaining quite stable from 2014 to 2024. And Denmark shows the highest frequency of alcoholic beverages consumption and binge drinking prevalence. And here you have the frequency of alcohol consumption among adults in the different countries, and where you can see that Denmark has a higher consumption or higher frequency of alcohol consumption compared to the other 4 countries, but they are more equal, the different countries compared to Denmark. And it's stated that it might be due to the Danish alcohol legislation or lack of legislation, where we don't have kind of regulated market. We can buy strong liquor in every retail store, which is not what we can do in the other Nordic countries. Yeah, here you have the Danish high consumption of alcohol. If we look at the results on overweight and obesity among adults and children, and compare the data collection from 2014 to 2024, we can establish that in 2024, more than half of the adults are living with overweight or obesity in the Nordic region. We can see that overweight and obesity has increased from 2014 to 2024. And we can see that the prevalence of overweight or obesity is higher in men than in women and increases with age. And we can also establish that the social inequality is high. We can see that 2/3 are overweight and obese among short educated, but only 48% among those with long education. And in general, we can see that the prevalence of overweight and obesity is highest in Iceland. And among children, we can see that almost 1 in 5 children are overweight or obese in the Nordic region. And we can establish that the prevalence of obesity and overweight has increased significantly from 2014 to 2024 in the region. And also the same picture as with the adults, the prevalence of overweight and obesity is highest in Iceland. So in general, if I should conclude on the results, we can see that there's a decline in adult intake of intake frequency of especially fruits, and we can see a decline in the adult intake frequency of whole grain bread. We can also see that the increase in adult intake frequency of energy drinks in all countries, especially large increase in Iceland. And we can see that we have a frequent intake of meat in the Nordic region, and many eat meat most days a week. And the fish intake compared is very low frequent than meat, and we can see we have the highest intake of fish intake in Norway and Iceland. We can also see that the increase in children's intake of soft drink has occurred. Soft drinks, candy, and chocolate has increased in children, and there's a decrease in children's intake of fruits and vegetables. And overall, we can see that there has been an increase in overweight and obesity among children and adults. So if I should sum up, we can see overall the Nordic population is developing in an unhealthy direction from 2014 to 2024, and is far away from being the most sustainable region in the world, which is one of the goals for the Nordic Council of Ministers. So there's very much need for action, and we of course hope that the report can provide important results that the policy level can use for taking some action to kind of change the direction of the health, so it becomes more healthy. Yes, and that's my words. Thank you for your attention. And then we will open up for some questions, if possible, and I'll stop sharing my slides. And Dorte is there. Yeah, there are some comments.
Yeah. They ask you if you have asked about coffee. Maybe people drink energy drink instead of coffee.
No, we have not been asking about coffee. It's we have used some indicator foods, so it's a very quick questionnaire that we have provided. So we don't know whether it has changed because people have changed their habits from coffee to energy drinks. But what I see when I'm out in the society, I can see that there's a lot of young, especially men, consuming energy drinks to and from work. And I don't know whether they drank a cup of coffee earlier, but still I can see that a lot is kind of, going around with the energy drinks as a use of getting energy in everyday life.
Any more questions? Thank you for.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You could also raise your hand if you want to say anything. It seems like that your presentation has been very good, and
Well,
so no one has any questions for you.
No.
It's fulfilling information.
Yeah. Well, that's to just point out. Well, the report of the NORMO is online, and you can look at it, and there are many results, and we will kind of also look at the results and try to provide some more information about the survey.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
And then I would just say thank you to Sisse for doing this presentation of NORMO this year for this enormous great work.
Thank you.
And congratulations with the result of your report. And thank you very much everybody to participate today. Thank you.